able, record muna natin, ayan. Okay, so last time we are able to discuss in your lecture naman, no? So hindi naman ako yung lecture nyo. But the lecture instructor, I believe, no, he or she was able to give you an insight on the scope of chemistry, no? So malawak siya, but still the idea is that you are understanding matter, no? In the laboratory class, what we do here is, ano naman, we understand how do we measure matter, no? So, paano siya mini-measure, no? Uh, we knew last time that we have three systems of measurements, no? Which was developed since the early ages, no? So, we started with imperial systems, which makes use of body sizes in order to get measurements. That was changed, no? After the French Revolution, we have the metric system, which is the basis for the much better system, the international system of units, no? So yun, so SI units and metric systems, same lang sila, although nag-change yung definitions ng ating measurement, no? So we started with meter being the distance from the North Pole to the equator divided by a certain number. So yun yung lumang definition. But this time, no, we define meter based on the distance traveled by a photon, no, yung isang light particle, over a fraction ng second. No? So yun yung idea, no? So they just changed the definition into something that is more universal, no? So hence the international system of units being developed now and is now used today, no? So ngayon, may naiwan tayong part which is the energy part, no? So what is energy? So mini-measure din ba yan, no? So yes, no? Okay. So we will now proceed with the energy part. So pwede kayong mag-screenshot ng slides, no? Okay. So what is energy, no? In your high school, even until college naman, no, we define energy as the capacity to do work, no? Ano naman, no? So meaning lang yan, energy is something that is needed to move matter, no? Not only matter, no, but to move everything, no? O, kunwari, mayroong, ano dyan, mayroong energy, may, ano ba ba yung matter? Yung energy, pwede mo i-move yung energy with the help of energy rin, no? So, yeah. So, kumbaga, if you are going to displace one thing from one point to another, you need energy, no? So, yun lang. Very vague yung idea kasi malawak yung concept, no? So, in summary, sabi lang natin that energy is the capacity to do work, no? If you have energy, then you are able to move objects and energy as well, no? So, mamaya makikita natin yung sinasabi ko dun sa last part. Paano na-move yung energy, no? But anyway, let's go muna sa something that we can see, something that we can observe in our daily lives. We have the two types of energy now. So we have the kinetic energy and the potential energy. Okay. So when you say kinetic energy, this is the energy that is in motion. So it is involved in the moving objects now. And looking at the equation, 1/2 mv square, as long as you are moving, that translates to a certain value for kinetic energy, no? So, ito yung question dyan. Paano kung hindi gumagalaw yung bagay, no? What if the object is not moving? For example, yung calculator dito sa right side ko, no? Steady lang siya. So, does that mean na wala na siyang energy? Not really, no, because we have potential energy and we define the potential energy as the energy of the object that is stored, no, nakatago lang yan, no, waiting to be released, no. So, alam niyo naman mga senior high, may potential, no, yun. So, Yung idea lang nila ng potential doon is may tinatago silang energy, no, na kaya ilabas nila. But anyway, college na kayo eh, so hindi na applicable sa inyo yun. But that's the idea, no? If you have an object which is not moving, it still possesses energy, but not in the form of kinetic energy, no? In the form of potential energy naman siya this time, no? So, to be honest, no, yung na-discuss nating dalawang uri ng energy, surface level lang yan ng sobrang daming uri ng energy sa mundo ng chemistry and physics, no? Okay. So we have different examples, no, of those energies. We have the mechanical energy and yung nakikita natin, yung mga gumagalaw-galaw talaga, no, mga kinetic energy. Light energy, that is something that is possessed by photons, no, as they travel through the vacuum of space, no, or certain mediums such as air, no. Heat is another form of energy. Yun yung nadarama natin, no? Hindi nakikita, ngunit nararamdaman. Electrical energy, the thing that powers your computers, your cell phones, whatever gadgets you have, no? Yun, in the form of energy pa rin yun, no? So, yun. So, maraming uri ng energy, no? And yung mga examples na to, these are just the surface level ulit, no? Because later on, as you study chemistry further, no, you will encounter enthalpy, gives free energy, entropy, internal energy, so on and so forth. No? But anyway, yung idea lang tayo. Okay, so in chemistry, what we are focused on is chemical energy. No? So the energy that is possessed by molecules. No? So remember that our molecules are connected. No? Yung atoms doon, they are connected with chemical bonds, no? And in those bonds, doon makikita yung chemical energy, no? And those energies, actually, sila yung reason kung bakit tayo nabubuhay, no? So for example, you consume a food, no? Kumain ka ng food, kunwari, nagmerienda ka, kumain ka banana cue. Yung molecules ng glucose doon, no, or carbohydrates, whatever. No. So yung mga sugar molecules doon sa food mo, they are broken down into smaller pieces through the process of cellular respiration. So as they cut those bonds, they release heat. Kaya mainit yung katawan natin. No? Kasi yun, there is a continuous, no, na conversion of energy from molecules, no, habang napuputol sila during the process of cellular respiration, no, that gives us the energy, no. Yan. So yun lang, blah blah blah. And what do we know about energy? We know that energy is something that is not created, no, hindi siya ginawa na lang bigla, at hindi rin siya pwede sirain bigla, no. So yun. So same with matter, no? Because through Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared, we knew that matter translates to energy, no? So yung matter, pwede siya maging energy, vice versa. So yun, that means it nag-a-apply yung law of conservation of matter with the energy, that they cannot be created nor destroyed, no? They can only be transferred or converted from one version to another version. So hindi na lang pwede yung biglang may mawalang energy, no? So hindi pwede yun, no? Even in our universe, ganun din, no? So yun, yung black hole, hindi meaning ng black hole, walang energy doon, no? Merong energy din doon, inabsorb niya sa loob. May matter din ba doon? Meron, nasa loob, no? So yun. So yun lang yung idea, no? Energy is the capacity to do work, and we encounter lots of energies in our daily lives, but we are concerned on the simplest examples. We have the kinetic energy, energy involved in motion, potential energy. This is the energy that is involved in objects that are not moving, no? Yung mga stored energy. chemical energy for the energy that are found in, or the energies found in chemical substances, usually in the form of chemical bonds, no? So, ayan, chemical bonds lang yan, no? So, ayan, take note natin yun, no? And yun, I know you know this, no? The law of conservation of matter, or the law of conservation of energy, which states that you cannot destroy your matter and you cannot create one, no? It is just converted from one to another. So, yun yung idea natin. But in chemistry, again, no? Maraming uri ng energies, no? So, gagamitin ba natin lahat yon in chemistry? Not all naman, no? Okay. Instead, we are more concerned, no? Yung meron tayong interest with another type of energy that we can feel, no? Yun yung heat, no? So ngayon, tingnan natin yung difference between heat and temperature, no? So when we say heat, it is a process, no? Process yung heat, hindi siya yung temperature, no? So may distinction between the two. Again, last time we defined temperature as the speed of molecules, the average speed of molecules, no? As they increase their speeds, the frictional force increases, forming ano, heat, no? Forming thermal energy, no? Okay. So yung heat naman, yun yung paglipat ng thermal energy na yon from one system to another. For example, magpakulo ako ng tubig, no? Tapos sinawakan ko siya, mainit, no? What just happened is that the thermal energy of your molecules sa mainit na tubig, it is being transferred to you, no? So, nadama mo siya as mainit, no? So, ganun yung idea. Kaya, kunwari ikaw, hinawakan mo yung yellow. Wala lang, no? So, nafe-feel mo siya as malamig, but in reality, no? Ang nangyayari is that you are providing energy to the ice, no? So, binibigay mo yung enerhiya mo sa yellow, no? Kaya siya natutunaw. So, yun yung idea. Ina-absorb ng yellow yung energy mo. So, nafe-feel mo yon as malamig, no? So, by senses yung ating approach dito, no? Pag tumanggap ka ng energy, if energy is given to you, you feel it as something mainit, no? Something hot, no? And consequently, if binigay yung energy sa iyo, there will be an increase in temperature, no? So, if yung heat binigay sa iyo, kunwari ikaw ito, ayan, ano mafe-feel mo? Mainit, no? Because as a consequence of that heat transfer, that energy transfer, your temperature will increase as well, no? So, yun yung idea. Pero kunwari, yung heat lumabas sa'yo, kinunan ka ng energy. So, what will happen is that you will feel a sudden drop in temperature, no? Bababa yung temperature. Yun yung consequence, no? So, mamaya papakita natin kung ano yung relationship ng heat and temperature. Bakit ganun, no? So, yan, makikita natin yung mamaya. But anyway, ayun nga, so we are concerned with heats, no? Because this is something that we experience in chemical reactions. Diba? Kunwari, pinaghalo mo yung ganito, baking soda, pati yung suka, lumalamig. Bakit kaya? No? That can be explained by chemistry as well, no? Especially in the topic of thermochemistry. No? So, nasabi ko yung thermochemistry, dapat may war flashbacks kayo ng senior high school nyo, no? Yung mga constant heat, constant volume, constant pressure, calorimetry. Ayan, you should be familiar with all those stuff, no? Kasi dadaanan natin sila mamaya. Pero madali lang. Hindi siya kasing tindi, unlike your high school, no? Senior high school with energy discussion. Okay. So may question kayo doon? Any question, clarification? Okay pa naman kayo dyan? None, sir. Sige, so okay pa naman, no? Sige. So, what else, no? So, ayun, no? So, heat, no? Since energy to, we can measure energy, diba? Sabi ko nga kanina. So, ano yung unit when we measure heat, no? Or when we measure energy? We can use calories, no? Medyo familiar kayo dyan, no? We can use calories, no? Or the SI unit, joule, no? Okay. So sa food, we are familiar with food calories, no? For example, kung may pagkain kayo dyan sa inyo, tingin kayo sa nutritional value sa likod, makikita nyo yung energy, no? For example, meron ako ditong Lucky Means, no? Pakita ko lang. Para alam niyo yung meaning ng nasa likod na. Although, syempre, ano, tingnan lang natin, no? So, looking at the nutritional value, di tayo maglulot, So, yan, pakita ko lang, no? Yun. So, yung amounts per serving, isang serving neto would give me 85 kilocalories, no? So, that means I will gain 85,000 calories when I eat this, no? Okay, so yun. Mag-gain ako ng energy as well as makakasakit ako dahil sa kalat, no? So, don't eat Lucky Me always, ha? But the idea is that, ano nangyari, no? Pag kumain ka ng food, ano mangyayari? Magbibigay siya ng energy sa'yo, no? So, if health conscious ka, no? Tingnan mo yung likod ng food mo. Check mo kung how many calories can you gain from that food, no? So, yun. Okay. Yun. So, sa pagkain, if usapang pagkain, we use calories as unit of energy, no? Pero, sa science, no? Especially sa physics and engineering, we instead use the unit of joule, no? So, paano yan? Kunwari, sir, calories to, kailangan ko ng joule. We need conversion factor, diba? Ganun naman always, diba? We can convert one unit to the other, provided that there is a mathematical relationship between the two. Okay? So, you have to remember this, no? The equivalence of calories to joule is just 1 calorie is equal to 4.184 joules, no? Sige. Ngayon, balik tayo sa original question natin, no? Sabi natin, we can measure the heat energy, no? So, paano, no? Papasok tayo sa specific heat, no? Punta tayo sa kwento ng specific heat, no? So, what is a specific heat? That is just the amount of energy that is required to raise a temperature ng substance, no, by 1 centigrade, no. So, ano lang meaning nun, no? If you want an object, no, if you want something to increase its temperature, you have to provide certain amounts of energy, no. Kunwari, itong borosilicate glass na to, gusto ko pataasin yung temperature niya by 1 degree, by 1 degree Celsius, I have to provide specific amounts of heat, no? So, yan. Okay, so, ito yung mga specific heats of different materials, and take note of the unit, they are represented in calories per gram degree Celsius, no? In senior high school, you are familiar with specific heat, no? In the units of joule per gram degree Celsius, no? Or joule per gram Kelvin, no? So anyway, same lang yan. Ang ginawa lang dito is that kinonvert lang sila to calories, no? Kasi itong textbook natin, this is American textbook, so they use weird units, no? So anyway, so yun yung idea, no? So different substances require different amounts of heat in order for its temperature to increase. So, ano meaning nun, no? So, ibig sabihin, pag naglagay ka ng energy sa ganitong substance, tataas yung temperature niya. So, ang question dun is that, is there a way for us to measure heat based on the change of temperature, no? Diba? Kasi sabi nito, pag naglagay ka ng ganitong heat, then you can change the temperature, no, by 1 degree. Binaliktad ko lang yung statement. Ang tinanong ko is that, if ganito yung temperature change, can I solve for the amount of heat, no? Then the answer is yes, no? So, ako na rin sumagot na. So, how do we solve for the energy required, no, to change the temperature, no? Okay, so we follow this equation ng specific heat, no? Wherein the amount of heat, which is Q, no? And mag-flashback na dapat kayo ng mga natutunan nyo nung senior high, no? So, yan. So, the amount of heat is represented by Q that is equal to MC delta T, no? So, ito yung heat requirement, no? Or yung heat amount. We can solve for this as long as we multiply the mass of your matter, the specific heat of matter, and the temperature change, no? So, ito din naman yung equation na yun. It just so happened that I don't like the notation, no? Para lang. Ito kasi yung convention natin since senior high school. So, I believe most of you are much more familiar sa version na to kaysa dito. But the idea is still the same, no? This is the mass of your matter. Ito yung mass. Ay, nasa yung laser. So, yeah. This is the mass of your matter. This is the specific heat. And delta T represents the change in temperature, no? When solving for change in temperature, that is always the final temperature minus the initial temperature, no? So I can rewrite this, no? I can expand delta T as M, ay, ano nangyari? Burin ko na. MC final temperature minus the initial temperature, no? So yan. Take note nyo na yung equation na to, no? Ito lang naman idadagdag natin. Okay, so that's Q equals MC quantity final temp minus initial temp, no? Okay. So, ayan. So, for example, we are going to measure the amount of heat or the calories required to heat this amount of water, 352 grams of water, from 23 to 95 degrees Celsius, no? So, all we have to do is to plug in all the information, no? Specific heats are usually given. All you have to do is just to check this table. So, pwede nyo po ito i-screenshot na, no? Screenshot nyo yung table na yan, lagay nyo sa group chat nyo. So, ganun. Okay. Huwag nyo kabisaduhin, no? Okay. Siguro yung important lang dito is water. Siya lang yung important, no? The rest, trivial na lang, no? Okay. So, for you to solve specific heat problems, you should be given with, sir, madalas po ba na-given ang specific heat sa question? Most of the time, no? Siyempre, except if you are going to solve for specific heat. No? So, yan. So, mamaya, may practice tayo. No? Magpa-practice tayo ng solving. No? So, para well-equipped na kayo sa inyong chapter 1. No? Kasi next week, no, is ibang chapter na tayo. No? So, yun lang. Ano saan na ako? Ayun, so kunwari, you want to solve for the energy, the heat and energy, or calories required to increase the temperature of 352 grams water from 23 to 95. So all you have to do is to follow the MC delta T equation. No? So this is the mass of your matter, 352 grams. The specific heat of your matter, in this case, water siya. So, kunwari, hindi natin alam, tingin tayo dito sa table. Ayun si water. 1 calorie per gram degrees Celsius, no? Okay. Then, delta T, no? Sabi natin, delta T can be written as final temp minus initial temperature. So, you're just going to subtract the final temperature minus the initial temperature. And take note that the units should cancel out if necessary. No? Pag necessary, yan. No? Okay. Kunwari yung grams, it should cancel out with this one. The degrees the degree Celsius, kailangan mag-cancel din siya. Giving you an answer of 2.5 times 10 raised to 4 calories or 25 kilocalories. No? So yung unit, kunwari nag-quiz na kayo, no? Which is hindi pa naman ngayon, no? Kunwari nag-quiz na kayo is, bibigay ko kung ano yung required na unit. Kunwari, express the answer in joules, no? So that means i-convert mo pa ito into joules. Ganun. Pero kunwari, express the answer in kilocalories. So, as is yung calculation, no? So, mamaya may practice problems tayo to strengthen the idea, no? And that marks the end of the chapter. But before we proceed with the calculation, recall ulit tayo, no? Para sa mga na-late, no? Let's recall. According to our discussion earlier, we defined energy as the capacity to do work, or it is the capacity or the ability to displace everything, no? So, bakit sinabi ko everything? It is not just limited to matter. You can transfer energy as well, no? So you can move them. We are mostly familiar with the two types of energies. We have the kinetic energy, the energy in motion. Alam niyo yung formula niyan, 1/2 mv square, no? Pag if an object is moving, you can say that it is energetic, no? In the form of kinetic energy, no? Another version is the potential energy, which is the energy based on the position, no? Okay, so it is the energy at rest, no? But it still possesses energy because if you move that object, it will that potential energy will convert into kinetic energy, vice versa. And if you have forgotten, the formula is MGH, no? Mass times gravitational acceleration times the vertical displacement or the height, no? Pero hindi naman tayo magsusolve na ito. Don't worry. Pinakita ko lang. Then, ano yung sabi natin kanina, no? Yung dalawang types ng energy na yun, those are just the surface level, no? May ibabaw lang yan, no? We can see various types of energies as we study chemistry further, no? Meron tayong mechanical energy, yung parang kinetic energy lang din yan, no? Light energy, that is the energy that is associated with light waves, no? The photons moving in the vacuum of space or in the air, no? So may energy doon. Heat, no? This is the energy process na energy process na nalilipat-lipat lang yung thermal energy from one system to another. Electrical energy, that is the energy that powers your devices, no? Ano yung gumagalaw sa electrical energy? Electrons, no? When electrons are moving, then they can form circuit. So, may electrical energy doon, no? So, yun. Sa chemistry, we are more concerned with the chemical energy, no? So, sabi ko kanina, chemical energy, ano lang yan, siya ay nakikita in the form of chemical bonds, no? So, yan. When you break chemical bonds, you produce energy, no? For example, yung nangyari sa Beirut, no? So, ammonium nitrate yon, NH4NO3, no? Ammonium nitrate, what happened there is if it combusts, no? Kapag sumabog yon, it will produce NO2, NO, and other gases such as oxygen, no? Oxygen is flammable, nitrous oxide is flammable as well. Ito yung kulay orange sa usok, no? So, yun. O2 is, alam natin, flammable yan. Hydrogen gas as well, flammable yan. So, yun. So, kumpletong-kumpleto yung recipe for disaster, no? So, we can produce hydrogen gas, we can produce water as well, no? Water vapors. We can produce oxygen gas, we can produce the toxic nitrous oxide, ito yung kulay orange doon na nakita nyo. Kapag sumabog may orange, yun yun. So yun, so imagine naputol lang yung mga chemical bonds dyan, then it resulted in a very big explosion, no? So, ganun katindi yung chemical energy, no? Ano lang yan, maliliit na chemical bonds lang yan, pero pag naputol yan, bomba yan, no? Pero sa food naman, hindi naman sumasabog yung food, no? Ang nangyayari lang with our food is that uh, as we break those chemical bonds, no, na-convert siya into energy that heats up our body, no, that makes our life possible, no. So, ayun, no. Share ko lang. No? And what else do we know about energy? Ayun, energy and matter are equivalent. That's um, That's because Einstein said so in his famous equation E equals mc squared. Na. So energy and mass or matter have equivalence, medyo may equivalent ano sila values, no, through that equation. So that means if there is a law of conservation of matter, there should be also a law of conservation of energy, which simply states that you cannot create energy, you cannot create matter, you cannot destroy them as well. What happens is that they are just converted from one version to another, no? For example, yung kamay ko, pagdikitin ko uli sila. So, if I rub my hands, anong energy meron dito? Gumagalaw yung kamay ko. So, that's kinetic energy. At the same time, nafe-feel ko, umiinit yung aking kamay, no? So, heat yun, no? So, what happens is that my kinetic energy is being converted into heat as well, no? So, through the help of friction, no? Kasi kung walang friction dito sa kamay ko, edi hindi siya iinat, no? So, yun yung idea, no? Okay, so ano pa yung sinabi natin kanina, no? So, what I said earlier is that in chemical reactions, we're concerned with heat, no? And we made a distinction between temperature and heat, no? So, temperature is the measure of the speed of molecules, no? Okay, as those molecules speed up, they form what's called the thermal energy, no? And if that thermal energy is passed from one system to another, mayroong heat, no? Nasa-transfer yung heat. No? So, may transfer ng thermal energy, and then nafe-feel nyo yung heat, no? Pwedeng malamig yun, pwedeng hindi, no? And as a consequence, if that energy is transferred, what happens is that the temperature varies as well, no? So if you want to see kung ano yung relationship ng heat and temperature, we have the equation for specific heat. The Q equals mc delta T, wherein m is the mass, c is the specific heat, and delta T is the change in temperature. That's final temperature minus the initial temperature. For specific heat, no, you do not have to remember that because you can look up sa table, no? And if nag-quiz naman tayo, alam nyo naman, nasa bahay lang tayo, so pwede kayong magbukas ng kung ano-anong objects dyan, no? So yun, kayo bahala, no? But, yun, that's the idea. You don't have to memorize all this. Siguro yung water, pwede pa, no? Just itong conversion, isa buhay na lang natin, no? So yun. So I think that's it for the whole chapter 1, no? What we're going to do now, no? Hindi naman natin uubusin yung buong 3 hours natin, no? Kasi na-discuss na natin yung mga bagay last time, no? So, ngayon, more on enrichment, no? Okay. So, ang first part natin ngayon, no? Ay, hindi, second part na pala. Tapos na yung first part discussion. Our second part of this class would be on solving problems, no? So, I will give you 3 problems, no, concerning specific heat, no. Then I will show you how to solve it, no. Then yan, no. Then we can proceed recalling all the previous ideas. Then good na tayo, no. So, yun lang. Ayun, no. So that daw sabi ni Ernst, no. Hindi ako marunong mag-ano. Tawag doon. Sir, napindot lang po. Sige. Kala ko nagma-Morse code ka na. But anyway, I hope you have your copy of your worksheet number 2, no? So, yun. So, let's try to answer this, no? Hindi natin sasagutan lahat, no? Kasi, wala lang. Kayo na bahala. Academic freedom. Okay. So, let's take a look at number 9. So, ito yung, calorimetry problem or specific heat problem, no? So, yun. So, let's begin with number 9. The question is, sir, required po ba? Hindi po required, no? Ang ginagawa natin sa class natin, as you can see, no, we're just answering some problems that are tricky. Then, I leave the rest for you to find out, no? Since wala tayong meeting sa Monday, bibigyan ko na lang kayo ng answer key dito sa worksheets natin. So, worksheet 1, worksheet 2, no? Bibigay ko yung sagot, then, yun, practicein nyo, no? So, yun. And also, since wala tayong pasok sa Monday because it's National Heroes Day, yun, you can study in advance, no? Yung second topic natin, which is on chapter 2, atoms, no? So, yun. So, anyway, proceed tayo. For number 9, the question is, how many calories are required to heat 731 grams of water from 8 degrees Celsius to 74 degrees Celsius, no? So, ano unang gagawin? Given. So, what are given? No? So, ano yung mga given na information? We have the mass of water, 731 grams. Ano pa? Initial temperature is 8 degrees Celsius. No? Ito para sa mga nalilito, no? Meron pa rin kasi. Alam ko meron pa rin, no? And that's okay. Pag sinabing initial, no, may keyword kang from, no? So, ito yung umpisa. And tapos na ni Prof. Ren. Okay, so yun. Ito yung initial temperature parate. Yung 2, yun yung final. Okay. Para lang sa mga nako-confuse pa rin, no? So, the final temperature is 74 degrees Celsius. Then we are asked, no, to find Q. So, our solution would be Q equals MC delta T. Expand ko na lang yung delta T. I will write that as TF minus T initial. Okay. Then, solving for Q, the mass is 731 grams. Specific heat ng water. So, kunwari hindi ko kabisado, titingin ako sa table. Tapos nakita ko, water 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. No? So, I will copy that. No? 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Be careful of the units. No? Times the temperature difference. No? So, the final temperature is 74 minus the initial temperature is 8. No? Lalabas ko na yung degree Celsius. No? Pinactor out ko lang. Okay lang yan. No? Okay. So, looking at our units, no, we can observe that grams will cancel out. Degrees Celsius will also cancel out, no, giving us the final unit calorie. And that means na tama yung ginawa natin. No? Okay. So, kung ano yung desired quantity, the unit should follow. No? Kasi mamaya, calorie per gram yan, iba yun. No? So, magkaibang bagay yung calorie per gram sa calorie. So, anyway, solve natin, no? 731 times 1, parenthesis, 74 minus 8, close parenthesis. No? So, we're able to get the final answer, 48246 calorie, no? Okay. So that is the answer, 48,246 calories, no? Or we can convert this into different versions, no? If I want kilocalories, I can write it as 48.246 kilocalorie. Pwede din tayo mag-round off, no? If I want to write this into scientific notation, I will write it as 4.8 times 10 raised to 1, 2, 3, 4 times 10 raised to 4 calories, no? So yun. Ay, sige. Sige, papayin natin muna yung buo na. 2, 4, 6 times 10 raised to 4 calories, no? Sir, ano po yung gusto nyong sagot, no? Okay, so sasabihin ko naman sa problem, no? Pwede kong sabihin sa problem na represent your final answer in 3 significant figures, no? If I'm going to represent my final answer in 3 significant figures, I can use this, no? Hanggang dito lang na unit, no? Times 10 raised to 4 calories, no? Pwede yun. Kaya if I'm going to use the units of kilocalories, hanggang dyan lang, no? So on and so forth, no? So sasabihin naman po sa problem kung ano yung unit and ano yung significant figures, no? Multiple choice naman tayo, don't worry, no? So mamimili lang kayo dun sa A to E, no? So yan. Heart. Naway lahat mahal, no? So anyway, that's for number 1, no? So nasundan po ba yung solution sa number 1? Okay naman tayo dyan. Opo, sige. So let's recall what happened, no? So what happened is that we are asked to solve for the heat required to increase the temperature of water from 8 to 74 degrees Celsius. So nilista natin yung given. We are asked now to look for Q. Then we write the equation. Q is equals to MC delta T, or Q is equals to MC times the final temperature minus the initial temperature. Then all we have to do is just to plug in all the information needed for us to solve for the Q. And take note, no, that the final unit should make sense, no? Kailangan, kung may kailangan makancel na unit, i-cancel natin, no? Alam natin that the unit for Q is calories. Therefore, the final unit, no, should not contain grams. Dapat walang grams. Dapat wala ring degrees Celsius. Only calories, no? Sir, what if I want to convert my calories into joules, no? Madali lang yan, no? So if you're going to convert your calories into joules, know that the equivalent number for calories is that 1 cal is equals to 4.184 joule, diba? So if I'm going to convert this into joule, all I have to do is to write the given quantity and multiply it by the conversion factor. Sino yung nasa baba? The unit to be cancelled. Calorie is in the numerator. So I should write the calories dito sa equivalence natin sa denominator. So lalagay ko yung 1 cal sa baba for them to cancel out. Nasa taas si joule. So yun, solving. Kokopyahin ko na lang yung sagot ni John Gabriel, no? So 201,861.26 something joules, no? Similarly, you can express this answer into different versions, no? I can write this as 201.86 kilojoules or 2.02, kunwari na lang dito, times 10 raised to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, times 5 joule, no? Kayo bahala, no? So, yun. Ako naman, binibigay ko naman kung ano yung required unit, no? Kung ilan yung required na significant figures, I also indicate that sa questions, no? Para we're guided, no? Yun. So, okay tayo doon. Okay naman dyan. Sige. Mabilis discussion natin, no? Sakto lang. Alam niyo na rin naman to nung senior high, no? But anyway, So, do you have any questions? None so far. Tumawa na si Crisel. Do you have any questions? Wala pa naman na. Sige. So, ako may question. No? What is the answer for number 10? Sige. I want you to solve for number 10 first. No? So, yun. Solve nyo muna. Siguro I will give you 5 minutes to answer that. Algebra lang yan. No? Tapos mamaya may tuturo akong technique sa calculator. I call that technique the shift solve. No? So, kung alam niyo na yun, edi good. Sa mga hindi pa nakakaalam, welcome to the world of kadayaan. No? Tuturo ko sa inyo yung shortcut para masaya ang life. Sige, solve muna kayo. I will go back to you by 5:26. No? Solve for number 10. Kung gusto nyo na sagutan yung 11, go lang. Sige, sagutan nyo na rin yun. Kaya nyo na yan. No? Sasagutan ko rin yan mamaya. Practice ng algebra, ha? So, sige, babalikan ko kayo mamaya. Ayun na. So, ayun lang. sige. So, you can continue answering, no? Sagot na ako, no? Tapos mamaya kayo naman magsasolve, no? Papakita nyo sa akin yung mga solution, no? Mamaya pa naman, no? Pag nag-review na tayo ng mga ginawa natin noong nakaraan, no? So, sige. Number 10. Sige, erase ko lang to. Erase. Negative 0.84C. Tignan natin. Sige. So, I'm going to answer number 10. No? Okay, so, tignan natin yung technique natin. Mamaya na pala yung technique. No? Yung typical calculations muna ngayon. No? So, a 100 piece of iron. Sige, so that given mass 100 gram piece of iron at 25 degrees Celsius, so initial yon, is heated by adding 230 calories, no? Okay, so sige. What would be the final temperature? Okay, find TF, no? Question mark. Okay, so gawin natin, sulat natin si solution, no? Ganun. So Q is equals to MC TF minus TI, no? So hindi pwedeng dalawa yung nawawala, no? Check natin kung anong mangyayari. So given yung Q, okay yan. Given yung mass, okay lang din. Ano pa? Specific heat, question mark. Final temp, question mark. T1 given, no? Okay. So ito, no? So, given naman yung identity ng substance natin. So, according to the problem, we have iron. So, all we have to do is to look at the table and yun, iron is 0.11 daw. To 0.11. So, sulat ko. Hindi lahat given, ha. Titignan mo pa yung iba sa table. Ay, mali. That's calories per gram degree Celsius. Okay. So, ito na nga yung hinahanap, no? So, we're asked to solve for TF, no? Zoom natin yan. Before we plug in all our numbers, we have to write an equation that excludes TF sa mga given quantities, no? Meaning, we have to write an equation na yung TF, yung unknown variable, is nasa isang side lang ng equation. The rest, no, lahat ng known variables should be on the other side of the equation for us to solve it properly. So to do that, the first thing that we want to move papunta dito sa left side is this term, no, yung mass and specific heat, no. So kasi naka-multiplication sila. So all we have to do is to divide both sides by MC. CM. So okay lang yan. Pares lang naman. So as we divide both sides by the mass and the specific heat, no, makikita natin that they will cancel out sa right side of the equation, giving us this version, no. Tanggalin ko na yung parenthesis. TF minus TI. Medyo malapit na, no? So, ano na lang kailangan ko pagawin? Okay, so I am just looking for TF, but may katabi siyang TI. So, in cases na addition, subtraction, if you want to move TI to the other side, no, all you have to do is to add TI on the both sides of equation. So what will happen is that this term will cancel out, giving us the final equation, TF equals TI plus Q over MC. Binaliktad ko lang ha. So, yan. So, since we have now a working equation, pwede na tayo mag-solve. No? So, tignan natin kung tama yung mga kino-comment nating answers. No? So, pero nakaabot kayo sa ganitong version ng equation? Nakaabot naman po ba? Hindi, sir. Ano nangyari? Oh, yung final answer, wait lang. Okay. Ano yung ginawa sa equation muna? Ayun, so si Jersey nakaabot. So si Andrew, 45 degrees. So mamaya may kita natin kung tama or mali. So, but yun ha, before you solve, no, before you start pressing everything in your calculator, you have to write your working equation first, no? Dun kasi maraming nadadali pag calculation, no? So, kailangan you do your algebra very well, no? Ingat-ingat sa cross multiplication, addition, subtraction, no? Kasi pag nagkamali doon, magiging mali yung answer natin. Okay? So, I showed you how to derive the equation for TF, no? You can actually save this, no? Pwede nyo i-save yung equation na yan. Malay nyo sa quiz, magtanong uli ng TF. Alam nyo na yung equation, no? So, ganun. But still, you can derive. Just keep in mind your algebra, no? Algebra. So, sige. I can start plugging in all the numbers. So, TI is 25 degrees Celsius. Plus, what is Q? 230 calories. Then, mass is 100 grams times the specific heat, 0.11 calorie per gram degrees Celsius. Again, we have to check if the units will cancel, no? The final unit is unit of temperature dapat. Dapat temperature unit yan. So that means ito dapat ay temperature unit. Okay naman, naka-degree Celsius yan. And this quantity should give you a temperature unit. Dapat degree Celsius yan. Let's check, no? Yung calories, they will cancel out. Grams, they will also cancel out. So, itong term na to, focus muna tayo dito bago tayo mag-solve, no? Itong term na to, what we just did is yung calories, dinivide natin sa grams times calories per gram degree Celsius. So, kinancel natin yung calories, kinancel natin yung gram. So, we are left with 1 over degrees Celsius. So, again, how do we deal with a fraction in a fraction? Reciprocal, no? So, we copy the numerator, 1, times the reciprocal of the denominator, degree Celsius over 1. So, 1 times degree Celsius is just degree Celsius, no? So, I always have to reiterate this, no? Para in the future, hindi ko na gagawin. So, yan. Kailangan natin i-focus yung mga bagay na yun. So, hindi ko muna ibuburahin. If you want to take this screenshot, then go, no? So, yan. Screenshot. So, yan. Anyway, naka-video naman. May nag-mute sa akin, no? So sad. So, anyway. So, 25 degrees Celsius, no? Ay, alam ko na yung unit eh. So, I can solve it using the calculator na. So, 25 plus 230 divided by 100 times 0.11. The answer is 45.90. Going on to decimal places, 91 degrees Celsius. Ayun. So that is the answer. Okay tayo dyan. So sino yung mga tumama? Si Micaela, 4591. Si Maria Fe, 4591. Okay. Sir, pwede na po ba yung 45? Pwede naman, depending on the question. No? Kapag sinabi to significant figures, edi 45 na. Pero if walang sinabi, sabi ko nga sa inyo last time, pag walang sinabi, 2 decimal places, no? So, yun. Pag wala akong sinabi na, show your final answer in ganito ganyan, significant figures, na. Okay na sa akin yung 2 decimal places, na. Masaya na ako dun. Yun pa. So, pag 2 decimal places, edi actually pag 45 pala, mali din siya, no? Pag 2 decimal places. Kasi look, no? 9 nga pala yung katabi niya. So, kailangan 46 pag 2 decimal places. Ay, 2 significant figures. Ay, nalilito na ako. So, yun lang, no? Okay lang. Hindi pa naman tayo nagkuquiz, no? So, yan. Maganda na yung mag-clarify tayo. So again, this is the solution, no? So for those who obtained the wrong answer, you can take a screenshot, no? Pwede nyo na to isabuhay. And ngayon, ipapakita ko yung callg technique, no? May pusa. May pusa sa ilalim ko. Buntot mo. So ngayon, I will show you the calculator technique, no? This is what I call the shift-solve method, no? Para sa mga taong tinatamad mag-algebra. Shift-solve. Ayan, pag ayaw na ng course, shift, no? Joke lang. Kaya nyo yan. So, shift-solve tayo, no? So, you can actually write your equations in your calculator, no? Pwede kang maglagay ng equal sign sa calculator. Pwede kang maglagay ng unknown variable x, no, sa calculator. Okay. So let's look at the equation again. So the equation for this type of problem is q equals mc times tf minus ti. Kanina, ang ginawa nating technique is that we do over algebra to rewrite the equation in terms of TF. No? So, kaya tayo napunta sa mga ganyang bagay. No? So, this is the correct answer, di ba? That's the right way of solving the problems. No? But, may shortcut, no? You can actually write this equation into your calculator. But instead of variables, q, mc, something, something, you will write the numbers instead, no? So, what is the Q? Sabi dito sa problem, that is 230 equals to your mass, 100. Ano yung C? Times 0.11 quantity TF. Di ba pag may missing variable, anong ginagawa doon? We let it as X, di ba? Yan. Minus TI, initial temperature, which is 25. So, our task now is to write this equation. Ilalagay natin itong isang buong equation na ito into our calculator. Siguro screenshot nyo to, tapos comment nyo dito sa chat, no? Para guided tayo. Bubuksan ko yung camera eh. Pa-screenshot na lang. Tapos pa-comment sa chat. Ayun. So, salamat Mariel. Okay. So, ngayon, I will open my camera, no? Para makita nyo yung Among Us, no? Hindi. Buksan ko camera. Among Us tayo. Okay. So, yan. kumakaway na naman si Charlene. Ayan yung calculator. Anong gagawin natin dito? Sabi natin, I am going to plug in the equation that I have. No, yung 230 equals 100 times 0.11 quantity x minus 25. No? Paano ko ilalagay yan sa calculator? So, yung 230, ano ba? Madali lang yan ilagay. 230. Yan, tapos na. Paano yung equal sign? Okay, so tingin tayo dito sa ating calculator, no? Looking at our calculator, may nakikita ba kayong equal sign? Siyempre, hindi yung nandito burado na nga eh. So, may makikita kayong red na equal sign. Ito yun, no? Ayan. So, ito yung kailangan natin, yung red na equal sign, no? Ayan. So, you press alpha and equal sign. Wow! Andun na yung equal sign. So, siguro yung alam na ito ng iba, no? Mga hindi pa nakakaalam. Ayan na, no? Then, what's next? 100, no? So, ilalagay natin 100 times specific heat 0.11, 0.11. Then, parenthesis, open parenthesis, then x, no? So, how are we going to plug in x, no? So, may nakikita ba kayong x sa calculator? Siyempre, hindi ito, multiplication to. Ayun, no? So, x na red. So, para magamit mo yon, you press alpha and the x, no? Yun, lumabas yung x doon, no? So, ganun na. If you want to access all the red buttons, no? Pwede ibang x na lang, no? For simplicity. Pag y, hindi eh. Alam ko hindi na pwedeng iba eh. X, Y, Z, no? So, x lang muna. So, x. Ayaw nyo na ba sa x nyo? Sabi na. So, x minus 25, no? Then, close. Wait lang, no? So, na-plug in na natin. 230 equals 100 times 0.11, open parenthesis, x minus 25, close parenthesis. Ngayon, para ma-solve yung x, no? For the calculator to solve for x, all we have to do is to press shift, then yung solve, no? Shift solve. Solve for x. Pag lumabas yung solve for x, you press the equal sign, then yung sagot ay 45.90. Wow! Kumakamay na naman po si Charlene. So, ganun. This method applies for those calculators na 991 ES Plus, 570 ES. Parang nagbebenta ako ng calculator. So, yun. Yung kasi yung mga nagamit ko eh. For Sharp, iba yung process niya, 991EX. So, ganito din yung process sa 991EX, no? Yung mga class Bs, no? Mga calculator ng mayayaman. Pero hindi nyo siya magagamit sa boards. Yeah. You have to use lower versions, no? Ang 350ES, alam ko, may shift solve ba yan? Check mo nga. So, kailangan may makita kayong solve, no, sa calculator nyo. Ayun, kapag walang solve, algebra. Ganun talaga. May mga favorite yung, may favorite si God, no. Kaya, bili na ng calculator. Pero saan na kayo bumili? Ang pwede gamitin sa boards is the 570 ES. No? Hindi na pwede ito. Kasi sabi nila itong solar panel, this can be used to get Wi-Fi signals. No? Siyempre, joke lang yun. Hindi ko alam. Programmable daw to eh. So, hindi ko alam kung bakit. Pero yun, bawal na daw to sa boards. No? So, if your calculator do not have the shift solve function, you have to do it manually, no? Algebra. So yun, para lang sa mga meron, di ayan yung technique. At least yung ibang mga ngayon lang to nakita, you know what calculator to buy in the future, no? So yun. Yan lang. Ayun. So, okay na yun. O, diba? Isa-isa na. Wow. Wow. So anyway, balik tayo sa subject matter natin. So if your calculator is not able to solve for the value of x, then ayan, magaganyan kayo. Anyway, mas masaya nga yung mag-manual eh. Wala lang. At least napapractice yung algebra. Ano. Tsaka yung board exam nyo naman, hindi naman masyadong makalculator yan. No? So you really do not need the technique, no? Pero knowledge of that is good, no? Yan. Kasi kami nung chemistry namin, chemistry board exam, ay ang daming math, no? So I don't have time to do algebra. Kina-calculator ko na agad lahat, no? Ayun. Sa awa ng Diyos, buti na awa yung Diyos, no? Nakapasa tayo. Nakamiss din yung feeling. But anyway, so that's for number 10. Number 11, no? Sagutan natin. So, saan ako pwede? Dito na lang sa gilid. Ay, brain ko to. If you want to revisit these steps, no, you can rewatch or you can watch the recording of this discussion. No? So, may calculator na kayo na 991 ES, EX, no? So, yan. Panoorin nyo na lang ulit yung video na to. Okay, so for number 11, it required 88.2 calories. So, given Q equals 88.2 calories of heat, to heat 13.4 grams, so mass yun, of an unknown substance from, initial yon 23 degrees Celsius to, yun yung final temperature, 176 degrees Celsius. Ano na, interpret nyo yung sentence habang nagbabasa. What is the specific heat of the unknown substance? So, find C. No? Yung C lang naman hinahanap na. Question mark. Okay, so let's solve for C. No? So, Q, solution. Okay, so solution. Q is equals to MC TF minus TI. So, I have to write the equation, no? That is in terms of the specific heat, the C. So, I have to divide both sides. Ay, kailangan yung red. I have to divide both sides by M and the change in temperature, no? So that they can cancel each other sa isang side, no? Cancel lang, no? So now the equation is Q over M TF minus TI is equal to C, no? Or I can rewrite that as C equals Q M TF minus TI. All I have to do is to plug in all the information, diba? So, sige. So Q, ano yung Q? 88.2 calories. 88.2. Mass is, ano yung mass? 13.4. 13.4 grams times the change in temperature, no? Yung degree Celsius, ilalabas ko na lang. Ganun din naman eh. So that's final 176 minus initial 23. Okay. May units bang magka-cancel? May units bang magka-cancel? None po. None because, as you can see, calories to, grams to, degrees Celsius to. And also take note that the unit for specific heat is calories per gram degree Celsius. Tama naman yung derivation, no? So, pwede rin naman na joules per gram degree Celsius depending on the unit of heat, no? But the idea is the same, no? So solve ko na 88.2 or 13.4 times 176 minus 23. 0. C is equal to 0.043020193115, or I can just round it up to do decimal places, 0.04 calories per gram degree Celsius. Nice one. You can try that on your ship solve functions. So yan, so marami kayong tumama, no? So yan, so congratulations, no? That marks the end of our chapter 1, no? So yun, on next week, no? Mamaya may gagawin pa tayo. Check ka lang. So on next week, Monday, we will not meet because it is araw ng mga bayani, no? So we pay tribute to holidays, no? Because they are sacred, so wala tayong klase. On Monday, I will upload all the answers for our worksheets, no? And yun, you can start reading chapter 2. Kung saan ba yung chapter 2? Tignan ko rin. Alam ko atoms yun eh. Ay, thermochemist nila. Ito yung mga tinuturo ko sa senior high, pati engineering. So, PowerPoint. Ay, lab pala tayo. Ay, anakim to. Ay, ito pala. Nalilito na ako. Ay, lab lessons. Atoms pala tayo and electronic configuration for next week, no? So, madali lang yan. Alam nyo na yan, no? But yun, no? Still, we will discuss all of them, no? In depth, so if everyone can follow. My goal kasi is yun, para walang maiwan, no? No students left behind. Okay, so, kuha pa tayo isang problem dito. Ito sa senior high ko eh. By senior high, nag-equilibrium na sila. Kinetics. Actually, pinag-integral ko pa sila eh. Diba, saya-saya. Saya-saya ng buhay. Anyway, punta tayo sa energy relations, no? May mga drawing pa. Ay, nami-miss nila. So, yun. Tingin tayo. Okay, pwedeng example dito. May notif sa canvas, no? Ito naman, joules yung unit ko. Siyempre, I love SI units. Eh. So, try natin naman sa joules, no? Para para aware tayo na may iba't ibang uri ng units, no? Okay, screenshot ko lang to. Lipat ko dun sa kabila. Insert picture. Ay, baka may makita kayong ibang picture. End ko muna yung sharing. Wait lang. Ay, what happened? Picture. Done. Ayan, sige. Pwede na kayo uling manood, no? Ayan. Okay, so we have this, no? Okay, so this time, no, gamitin naman natin yung ibang units of heat, no? Dalawa naman kasi yung units of energy. Pwedeng calories, pwedeng joules, no? And actually, mas marami pang iba. Pwede rin pounds, no? But this time, no, ito muna, no? So, in terms of joules tayo this time. So, A 466 gram sample of water is heated from 85 degrees Celsius to 74.6 degrees Celsius. Calculate the amount of heat absorbed in kilojoules by the water. Ayan, pwede na kayo mag-try magsagot, no? So, given mass is 466 grams, initial temperature 8.5 degrees Celsius, final temperature 74.60 degrees Celsius. What else? No, brain ko yung zero. Specific heat of water 4.184 joule per gram degree Celsius. No? Solving for Q, paano yung Q? Q equals MC delta T. So Q is just mass 466 grams times specific heat 4.184 joule per gram degree Celsius times the change in temperature. So that is 74.60 minus 8.50 degrees Celsius. Magka-cancel yung grams and yung Celsius, no? So we're left with Q equal to 466 times 4.184 times 74.69 times 8.5. Yan. Ayan, laki na. So, 128.88 kilojoules. Ang kinilojoules ko na. Pwede rin naman 1.29 times 10 raised to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joules na. So, yun yung mga pwedeng answers na. Yan. Also, pwede rin maging negative yung value ng Q. Kailan nagiging negative ang value ng Q? Sige, question. Ano ang sagot ninyo? When is the value of Q negative? If pag mas mataas po initial temp. Ayun. That means bumaba yung final temperature. No? So, it's one way of saying that. No? Pag lumamig. No? Kasi, according to thermodynamics, no, if a system is losing energy, negative yung Q, no? Negative yung heat. So, as a consequence, no, dahil sa equation, the temperature or the final temperature decreases. So, bumababa. So, I want you to answer number 2. Kasi baka in the future, magulantang kayo, no? Bakit may negative dito? Normal lang yan, no? And I know hindi yan first time, no? So, yan. So, try to answer number 2. Then, mayroong isang magre-recite, no? Papakita niya yung kanyang solution. Kahit sino pwede mag-recite, no? Yung pinaka-energetic na tao. Yun, pwede natin tawagin. Sige. Mag-message na lang yung sino gusto magpakita ng answer, no? You can use your webcam. Pakita nyo yung solution. Like, nakaganon kayo. Sir, ito po. Or you can comment your answer sa ating meeting chat, no? Sa group chat. I hope may natututunan kayo sa online class, no? Second lang. Okay. Negative heat. Yes po, negative heat. Kasi ano nangyari sa atin dito? The temperature drop, no? 5 degrees na lang eh. 94 to 5. And you can send your solutions sa meeting chat. Kahit isa lang. Pero I hope yung iba no nakikinig no. So hopefully you still participate regardless sa ano nangyari. Sir, papansinin ko po ba yung yes po, specific hit yun eh. So may sagot na si John Gabriel, which is negative 34.34 JK rolling kilojoules. Sige, tignan natin kung tama yan. No? So, solution na tayo agad. No? Q is equals to MC TF minus TI. Then, ano yung mass? 869 grams. 0.444 joule per gram degrees Celsius. Then the temperature change, the final temperature is 5 degrees Celsius minus the initial is 94. So we can see degrees Celsius and grams will cancel each other, giving us the final answer. 869 4 5 minus 94. Negative 34339.404 joule or negative 34.34 kilojoule or negative 3.43 times 10 raised to 1, 2, 3, 4 joule. Ayun. So, yan. Mukhang maraming tumama, no? So, yun yung idea, no? So, that's how we measure heat, no? And the science of measuring heat, we call that calorimetry, no? So, yun. Yun yung mga war flashbacks nyo, no? Senior high school. But anyway, so that's it, no? That sums up our chapter 1. And ano na lang gagawin natin? So, early dismissal tayo mamaya, no? Actually, we can dismiss by 6:30 na lang, no? Tagal din pala yung naging discussion natin. Yay! Nagugutom na rin ako eh. Okay. So anyway, let's recall some ideas. No? Sa ganun naman, pag okay tayo, okay na. Pwede na tayo umuwi. Pero wait lang ha, magsasolve pa tayo. Sige, paunahan. Gusto ko may mag-mic. No? On nyo na lang yung mic nyo. 15A. How many significant figures? 15A.
2.
Ayun, may 2. Bakit 2? Bakit 2? Wala na. Ang sagot ko,
Sir, nalimutan ko po yung tawag pagka yung nasa left side yung mga zero. Basta ang po hindi po sila bibilangan. Yun lang po.
So, ang idea, tama naman. No? Ang tawag doon sa kanila ay leading zeros. Ayan, naalala ni Gabriel. But that's the idea, no? If the zeros are on the left, no? It doesn't matter, no? It is, I just forget those numbers, no? Hindi sila kasama sa pagbilang ng significant figures. So, letter B. Magsasapawan pa sila. Papaunahan.
5 po, 5.
5. Sino yung nagsabi?
Ako po, it's Jeremy
Ay, ikaw
Sanita.
uli. Ay, ayaw magpatalo. So, bakit naging 5? Because itong 0 sa harap is still a leading 0, diba? Ay, naintindihan nyo naman yung sulat na yan. You know the idea. G. Nahirapan sila sa pagbilang. G. 2, 2, 2, 2. Sige, so 2. Bakit 2? Because all these zeros are called the leading zeros and they are not significant, no? E. 5, 5, 5, 3, 5. Ayan na, yan na. May hinihintay ako na isang sagot eh. Sige. Ano napansin niyo sa 3? Iba-iba yung interpretation natin, di ba? Walang tuldok, walang decimal point. Yun, ambiguous. So, tama si Jenica. Paunahan kayo ah. So, in cases of ambiguity, ambiguous, no? In cases of ambiguity, no? We cannot say the number of significant figures, no? Kasi we can express this into many versions, no? Ano, okay lang sa spelling, di ko naman alam din. Tama ba spelling ko? Kinopya ko lang kay Jenica. Pero yun yung tama spelling, no? So, yun. So, for ambiguous cases, what we have here is that there are lots of interpretation about this number, no? Pwede kasi natin yung isulat as 3, 2, 1, 0, 0, tuldok, 5 significant figures, yan. We can also write that as 3.21 times 10 raised to 4. Ano yan? 3 significant figures. Pwede rin 3.21 times 0 times 10 raised to 4. 4 significant figures yan. 3.2100 times 10 raised to 4. 5 significant figures yan. So on and so forth. So we have lots of way to describe that number. So we can say that it's ambiguous, and in order to resolve ambiguity, we need to express them in scientific notation, scientific notation, or just place a decimal, no? Pwede man lagyan ng tuldok lang sa dulo. Yun. Sige. So, what else, no? Sige, paunahan kayo, no? Ayan. Ang weird sa online class, di ko alam kung ano ginagawa nyo dyan sa likod ng camera.
8.33, sir.
Ano pa?
8.33.
8.33. Tignan natin, no? So, the formula, no? Degrees Fahrenheit equals 9/5. Diba? So, we can rewrite that as ay, kalimutan ko pala yung parenthesis, kaya pala pang, ano yung ginagawa ko? May parenthesis pala yan dyan. May parenthesis nga ba? Di ba nalito din ako? Hindi ko rin kabisado. Tignan na nga natin yung slide. You can use your calculator naman. So, asa na yun? Dito lang yan eh. Ayan, no? Ito na lang, yan na pala siya. Naka-express na. Wala palang parenthesis. So, 5/9 Fahrenheit minus 32. Tama naman pala to. So, yun. So, solving for that, ay, ano ba yun? Kamali ng pindot. 47. Fahrenheit tayo. So, 8.333. No. So, ganun lang. I love chem. Sana all mahal yung chem. Gusto niya lang umuwi. Gusto niya lang matapos na yun. No? Sige, paunahan pa tayo. So, auto 4. Ay. Sige. Ayan. Ganda ng color ah.
2.79 times 10 raised to negative 15.
Ang bilis ha. 2 point
2.79 times 10 raised to negative 15.
negative.
Negative 15.
Multiplication ha.
Yes po.
Sige. So, recall natin, no? So, 3.4 times 10 raised to negative 5 times 8.2 times 10 raised to negative 11, no? So, ano ginagawa? For multiplication, about we do not care about this part, no? Ayan, pati, ayan, no? So, ano ginagawa pag multiplication? We add them, di ba? Okay, so yun. So, we have 10 raised to negative 5 plus negative 11. Tapos, we multiply the integer part, this and this, no? 3.4 times 8.2. Calculator tayo, syempre. 3.4 times 8.2, 27.88 times 10 raised to negative 5 plus negative 11, negative 16, di ba? Then we move one decimal point to the right, increasing the exponent by 1, so 2.788 or 2.79 times 10 raised to negative 15. Yan, so good tayo dun, no? Ano pa ba? Hanap pa tayo ng pwede sagutan. So anyway, you can answer this at home naman, no? So sagot naman kayo sa bahay. Ay, nasa bahay naman yung kapalit na yan. Ba yan? So, feeling ko gusto niya na kumain, no? Sige. So with that, no, we are done with the whole chapter already, no? So, thank you for your participation, no? So, we will be having our quiz, no? Pero, I'll check pa, no? Kung paano yung magiging execution ng quiz natin. If that is on Cengage or Cengage or sa ano tawag doon? Cengage or sa Canvas, no? So with that, no? So thank you very much for your